Evening, everybody. Just want to say thank you to everybody that watched the last video I put up. Phenomenal response. I'm really happy with that. Just wanted to say thanks to all the viewers and all the subscribers and everybody commenting. Really appreciated that, and I really needed that boost. So thanks again. Got me thinking about what I could possibly do for my next video. And as I sit here, kind of put this engine together, I was trying to think about, you know, where I started, where I've come, how far I've come. And what I thought about doing was doing a rundown of all my scratch builds. These are the buildings that I've been building, going back, I guess 3 years now. So what I figured I would do is go over the 4 structures that I've completely scratch built. And I want to go over about what the reasons were that why I built it in the first place. What materials did I use? What did I learn? New techniques, like using new materials, new techniques, and what would I do differently? So that's my intro to this video. I'm going to move on to the first thing I scratch built and show you guys that. Okay. Okay, so this is where it all began. 3 years ago, I needed a bridge, and the reason why I selected this bridge, this is called a Bobtail swing bridge, is because I had original plans to do the Burlington Canal lift bridge, and I wanted to have 2 bridges side by side, and I didn't have much space, and if I put the pivot in the center here, this bridge would have banged into the bridge behind it. So that's my reason for doing it. The other thing was, it was pretty cool. It has nothing to do with Hamilton. This bridge actually exists in Chicago. Not sure which river it's on, but it's definitely in Chicago. It's no longer in use. Some vandals had stripped it of copper, and it was too expensive to fix. I think a short line was owning it, so they didn't bother fixing it. They just, I think they left it in the open position, and the railroad is now no longer in use. So that's a bit of a sad story for this bridge, but I thought it was really cool. It has quite a bit of history. If you want to look it up, it's the Z6 Bobtail swing bridge in Chicago. Lots of photos there, lots of graffiti on it now. So that's why I built it. So what materials did I use? Well, the starting point is just a piece of wood. That's what everything's attached to. I even thought I should mill it out a bit. So anyway, go back in my history. I'll put a link in the comments at the starting point for each one of these builds, so you can see what I did from step 1 all the way through to completion. So yeah, this one, lots of wood. I used no trespassing signs because I was cheap and I needed a cheap supply of styrene, and they were actually pretty good. So both sides of this bridge are built out of no trespassing signs. All the steelwork, all the riveted stuff, it's all styrene. It's all from a no trespassing sign. I guess caveat to that would be obviously the rod, the styrene rod. That's obviously evergreen styrene rod. The shack there was a little kit that I had in a box. It was totally munched, but I used the materials from it to build that little shack. It's very similar to the prototype, but not exact. What other materials did I use? Oh yeah, I actually, I found, for the metal grating on each side of the bridge there, you can see where the walkway is. I actually found that perforated sheet in my old house behind my house. The guy was a metal collector, and so I ended up cutting that up with metal shears just to do a walkway. 3 years ago, I thought that was pretty detailed, but now I know better, and I know where to get better etched metal sources. So I'll just give you another glance over here. These guys here actually came from a bridge kit that were left over, so they were pretty cool. This is actually part of my sewer pipe from my new house. You can see the blue there. So this is the biggest diameter pipe I could find. Yeah, anyway, more on the build if you want. Go back 3 years and I'll send you the link. And so what did I learn? On this one, the coolest thing I think I learned was how to make rivets. So if you look at all the steel plating on the sides there, minus the weathering, you can see the rivet detail on top and down here on all the sides. It's kind of hard to see, I guess, but they're all riveted. The tool I used was actually an upholstery tool, and you can get those pretty much anywhere. You'll see that in video if you go back to look. What would I do differently? On this bridge, I would definitely make the railings a bit sturdier because they've been knocked off so many times. And I did not drill in the vertical supports, and they just get, like if a train derails and goes through here, it just wipes out the entire railing. I think I've glued it on a few times, like maybe 3 or 4 times, and now I've just given it up. So I would definitely make the railings stronger. What else? I would use better track. I used code 100, and I didn't use bridge track. What I did do was just push the ties closer together to make it look like bridge track, which is kind of passable, I guess. But if I do rip this, or if I do put this on a new layout, which I think I will, I'll rip the track off and just replace it with code 83 or code 70. Yeah. Oh, it's going a lot longer. I just wanted to spend 2 minutes on each one of these things, so I'm up to 5 minutes. Yeah, okay, so that's it for this one. A couple firsts on this one. This is the first time I actually did some weathering. And then on the other side, I'll take a photo of it, but there's actually graffiti on the other side, which no one ever sees. So I'll show you those. I'll show you both sides. Anyway, this is my Z6 Bobtail swing bridge. Okay, this is the second thing I attempted to scratch build. This is my Stuart yard engine shop. It is now gone. They replaced it with basically a pavement, an area of pavement to do transload. So this thing had a lot of history. It was pretty beat up when they tore it down, but it had a lot of character. And the reason why I built it is because I needed a very small engine shop, and this one suited the bill. And I also liked the little office on the side here. Thought that was quite of a cool addition, as well as all the unique paraphernalia. There's a diesel tank here and a couple more tanks over here. Just all kind of adds to the shop atmosphere. And it was something that I thought I could attempt to build. So yeah, I have at her. Again, started with some cedar. I love my Eastern white cedar. What else did I use? I used drywall tape. So the windows here are made with drywall tape. I did a video on that one, how to make multi-pane factory windows. What else did I learn how to use here? The toy packaging too. So, you know, when you've got kids and they get toys, the plastic for the windows and the toy packaging is perfect for doing windows. You don't have to buy expensive styrene sheets. Stuff comes to you for free almost. What else? Yeah, I also used drywall compound inside. I don't know, yet to be determined how durable that's going to be. I filled in the tracks with drywall compound. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. So see, what did I learn? Okay. The cinder block walls is a kind of a cool one. So this is actually just Eastern white cedar. The detailing, I'll zoom in, you'll see my mistakes. But that's actually just Eastern white cedar right there. And what I did was take a hard pencil, so like a 2H, 4H kind of type pencil, and a ruler, and just scribe in the cinder blocks. So I measured out what a cinder block was in HO scale, just did all the horizontal lines, and then staggered the verticals. And I think it does a really good representation of a cinder block wall. Of course, Eastern white cedar is soft enough that you can, with a sharp pencil, you can actually dent it. And that's what this is. So that was one cool thing I learned. And then the factory windows as well. So even these guys down here are custom made. These little windows here, that's how the mesh comes in. And then when you take half the threads out of the mesh, that's what you end up with there. So this is the mesh that you tape your joins on the drywall with, and then half. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. The cool thing is it's got a sticky backing, so it just sticks right to the styrene. Great. Again, videos on that. What did I do differently? Okay, what would I do differently? Again, I got code 100 going into this thing, and ripping it out is going to be a pain in the ass. So yeah, I probably should have done code 83 or code 70. And the other thing is these ladders that go up the side, I end up reaching over this building and breaking the tops off, so they're all snapped off. So building a bit more durable ladders would be a good idea. Maybe these are built out of styrene, so I'd probably build them out of wire, just so that they don't keep breaking. Yeah, see, that one's broken too. Anyway, that is my Stuart Yard engine shop. And I'll put a link to the start of the build in this one. This one, I think I built this over about 18 months. I kind of let it sit for a long time. But it finally came together and I got it done, and I'm really proud of it. Anyway, I'll move on to the next one. Okay, this one is my third one. I started building this probably a year after I finished the Stuart Yard engine house. This is Foury Lubrication. Again, this is based in Hamilton. The reason why I built this one is I wanted somewhere to drop off oil tankers, and this was a local example. I could go there and take pictures of it, and I thought it was pretty cool and unique, and so I decided to build it. So what materials did I use for this one? Well, I used quite a bit of styrene piping, as you can see. I used, this is my first use of my Chinese etched metal. There's a lot of it in this platform. I guess this is from AliExpress, for those of you who are interested. Really good stuff. I use quite a bit of it in this model. And I also got my my fencing from China as well. That came in just a roll. What else? Yeah, so the styrene rod and the styrene beam, there's a lot of I-beams and L-beams and everything in this platform. This thing was completely scratch built. I also used a lot of dowels as well, different things. Some of these are wooden dowels, some of these are PVC pipe. Anyway, they're all kind of coated to look the same. So a couple things I learned on this build, how to make jointed pipes, realistic jointed pipes. So this is pretty cool. I'll zoom in. So this is accomplished just by using a lighter to burn the ends of the styrene, and then you can glue them back together. So all those joints there. Looks kind of realistic, especially there's a couple good ones there. So all these pipes are jointed and kind of look like the real thing. What else did I learn on this one? Standing seam roofing on there's a building in the background that's not finished, but I learned how to do standing seam roofing there. So that's just basically a sheet of styrene, as you can see it peeling up, and just thin strips of styrene glued down in the regular pattern there. So you don't necessarily have to buy everything. You can, for a small roof like this, you can make it yourself. What else? So yeah, one thing I did find with this one that I would do differently, I guess, is the separation from the two buildings here, the two structures. On a small layout, you're not going to have the space to basically do what is needed in between these two structures, which is a transport truck delivery. You know, the transport trucks obviously go into the truck doors there, and they need a lot of space to turn around. So to represent this properly, you're going to need a probably 2.5 feet of depth on your layout, and that takes up quite a bit of space. So what I might actually do is kind of separate these things in the eventual place that I do put them. Right now I've got this one upstairs in my office. Just kind of, I like to look at it. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, just I wanted to build it, but probably not the best in combination, the two of these together on a layout, unless you have a very large layout. So yeah, that's probably what I'd do differently. I probably wouldn't build the background building at all. I would just stick with this guy here in the front. So I may have wasted my time on that, and I may repurpose the background building for something else. I don't know. To be determined. Okay, moving on to the final one. Okay, so this building most of you might be familiar with given the number of views I got last week doing my first op session with this building. This here is TransCare, and the reason why I built this building, well, there are a few reasons. The main was I had a lot of coil cars and bulkhead flats and flat cars that I've been customizing with steel loads and aluminum loads and whatever else. And I thought, what better place to bring all those cars to than the Transload facility. So that's the main reason. The other reason was I wanted a bit more of a challenge from the last one that you guys just saw. And I also wanted to show the interior of a building for the first time that I had done, really. And I thought we all slam buildings up against the back wall and different angles and whatever else. We kind of get you to do the building flats that way. But I thought, what about doing a building flat on the front of the layout? And, you know, not showing the entirety of the building, obviously, because this building is massive in real life, but kind of cutting off keeping the business side of things and getting rid of the warehouse. So you get to see what's going on and kind of have an edge of layout building. You know, silly me for thinking that, because this thing was a hell of a job to finish, and it was a challenge, I'll tell you that much. So materials I used my sheet aluminum that I love using. It's the first time I actually bought a 4x8 sheet of styrene as well. I was starting to do the floor with like no trespassing signs and no parking signs and stuff like that. And, you know, you start doing the math on something this size and those parking signs really add up. Plus I was doing the other, like I did the exterior and the interior with styrene. So it was, you know, probably going to be $100 worth of parking signs. So yeah, the sheet of styrene was a much more economical way, and I still have 75% of it remaining to do other things. So yeah, plywood base. I did start with a steel base, and that was all warped, and that was not going to be a good base to start with. So this is quarter-inch ply, which, you know, some of you might not think is thick enough, and it may not be, but that's what I had, so I started with that. And I used tons of code 55 and code 70 rails, so I didn't make my mistakes that I made in the past with using code 100. The cranes are all code 55, and the rail on the bottom is all code 70. So what did I learn with this one? I think the biggest thing I learned on this building is organization and patience, and planning. This thing was tricky to put together, and I spent a lot of hours actually thinking about how I was going to build it, not just building it. Things had to go in a certain order, and if you didn't get them in a certain order, you'd never get another chance to do it again. So I only hope that this thing doesn't break the interior doesn't break, because I'm going to have to disassemble it to fix it. So yeah, got it up on the upper shelf for a good reason, and hopefully nobody kicks a ball at it in the playroom and smashes it. But yeah, that's what I learned most of on this one. And what would I do differently on this build? I don't think I'd do anything differently on this build, actually. I enjoyed it. It was a challenge, and I think I did everything the best way I possibly could. Yeah, so this is after 3 years of scratch building structures, I came up with this. And yeah, maybe my follow-up video to this one will be a few examples of what I've got in the works, and maybe you guys can choose which one I'm going to build next. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me on this video. It's probably going to be quite a long one. I meant to be about 8 or 10 minutes, but it's probably going to be double that. Yeah, so again, thank you guys for all your views and all your comments and everything for the last video. And I hope this one doesn't bore you to tears and you keep coming back to watch more. Okay? Have a good evening, guys.